Okay. Thank you all. Do we have a quorum?
Megan, I believe we do. Yes, we do. Yep.
All right, with that, then it is 6:01, and I'll call this meeting of the Old Colony Planning Council to order. Start by reading the accessibility statement. This meeting is accessible to people with disabilities. Microphones or telephones will be used by all speakers. Large print materials are available upon advance request. If you would like either of these accommodations, please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833. The Notice of Non-Discrimination Rights and Protections to Beneficiaries with regard to the federal Title VI non-discrimination protections and the state non-discrimination protections is posted in this meeting room and is available on the Old Colony Planning Council website. Please contact Mary Waldron at 508-583-1833 for more information. Thank you. Okay. Mary, do you want to take roll call?
I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Abington. Stephen, you're muted, Stephen, but Abington, Stephen Centrosonio is here. Avon.
Delegate present.
Alternate present.
Thank you. Bridgewater, I believe no one is able to attend. Brockton.
Delegate present.
Thank you, Yolando. Duxbury.
Delegate present.
Thank you. East Bridgewater.
Delegate present.
Thank you. Easton.
Delegate present.
I believe no one is here from Halifax. Hanover. No. Hanson. I know Tony's supposed to be coming on board. We'll keep an eye out for him. Kingston. Thank you, Val. I see you waving. Thank you. Pembroke.
Delegate present, and I believe
Alternate present.
Thank you.
Thank
Rebecca and Alicia. Plymouth.
Delegate present.
Plimpton, I believe, is not able to make it. Stoughton, Mark is not here. West Bridgewater. Mike Perez said he was going to try to make it. Whitman, I know, was unable to make it. And then Christine Joy is unable to make it. So we do have a quorum.
And Mary, Tony just arrived.
Great. Tony DeFrey is from delegate from the town of Hanson. Thank you, Megan.
All right.
So there is a quorum.
Thank you. So we're going to start with let's try to just get through our consent agenda real quick. The February 2026 meeting minutes were distributed in your packets, along with the FFY 2026 to 2030 Transportation Improvement Program Amendment number 3. Does anyone have any questions about either of those items that were in the packets? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda items?
I'll make that motion to approve, Becky.
Thank you, Stephen.
Second.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you, Derek. Okay, roll call, Mary.
Abington.
Accept.
Avon.
Accept.
Brockton.
Accept.
Duxbury.
Accept.
East Bridgewater.
Accept.
Easton.
Accept.
Hanson.
I have to abstain.
Kingston.
Accept.
Pembroke.
Accept.
Plymouth.
Accept.
And I believe that is it.
Okay.
Thank you.
If there are no objections, we will, I think, now take the Assistant Secretary for Environmental Policy, Kurt Gertner. Did I pronounce that right, Kurt?
You did, yes.
Is here to talk to us about the Massachusetts Integrated Land Use Strategy. And this will be sort of an introduction for many of us to this integrated land use strategy. And I'm sure it won't be the last time that we are hearing from the Assistant Secretary.
Great. Well, first of all, thank you to the council for the opportunity tonight. I know you have a packed agenda, so I'm going to try and cover this quickly. But as was just mentioned, the idea here is to lay the foundation by introducing the strategy to the council so that we can come back and have a more detailed conversation later. So what are we up to? At the state level, we are engaged in a whole of government, meaning all of the agencies involved in land use effort to proactively plan for future land use, much as we encourage regional planning agencies and municipalities to do. State hasn't done this in a long time. We're in the process of doing this now. Next slide, please. Part of our motivation to do this is just the recognition that if the state itself works proactively to plan for future land use, that we can continue to improve the kinds of problems we see with homes and businesses in places that are at risk, with insufficient housing production. We think that we, by planning across state government and following that plan, can help address these kinds of problems that you see listed on the left and depicted on the right, much as I think we're all working through regional planning agencies or municipalities to do a better job of land use for a whole bunch of motivations. Next slide, please. So one of the particular things here is, and we, the Commonwealth, have set a whole bunch of ambitious goals that relate to land use. And there are some examples on this slide. So the state's housing plan calls for production of 222,000 additional housing units by 2035. We have ambitions to transition from fossil fuels to a clean energy economy. That's part of that involves 27 gigawatts of solar power. And we also have ambitions for land conservation. We've committed to conserving 30% of the Commonwealth by 2030 and 40% by 2050. And what we are trying to do here is to recognize that if we don't, at the state level, plan for all of those things, work now across agencies, coordinate our efforts, that we run the risk for having conflict between those goals, and certainly not as proactively as possible or as carefully as possible achieving them. So we are working to create what we call the integrated land use strategy to proactively balance these priorities, work to meet all of those goals. So we're trying to develop consensus agreement on preferred places, locations for producing those housing units, and to seek the conservation of that acreage and avoid conflict between those, and work across the agencies of state government to make the commitments necessary, the implementation plans to achieve those outcomes. Next slide, please. These are some of the plans for future the Commonwealth has set. We wanted you to be aware of these because lots of these have particular goals and objectives in them. The team working on the integrated land use strategy has been going through these plans to understand what the objectives are, where they relate to land use, particularly where they have some kind of quantified goal, or particularly a geography, some place that's talked about as appropriate for these, so that we can do the planning necessary to achieve the outcomes of these types of plans and not get in the way of each other as agencies, and work as efficiently as possible to achieve the goals of all of these plans, whether they're addressing climate change, like the Clean Energy and Climate Plan, or the recommendations of the climate chief, focused on economic development. You can see the state's economic development plan there. All of these are things we've been looking to understand and incorporate into our land use objectives. Next slide, please. We are not alone in this. I've been asked a number of times now, have other states done this? Yes, at least a dozen other states. You see 3 different examples on here. And we've invited those familiar with Rhode Island's planning efforts from Oregon have come to visit and talk with this team working on this. But this is a common, well, not common, dozen or so of the 50 states have done this. And we're looking to these states as examples of what we're doing now. I want to particularly draw your attention to the Connecticut plan on the left-hand side there. Two reasons for that. One is what they refer to it as a locational guide map, because we are thinking of the version, the Commonwealth's integrated land use strategy, as sort of a similar thing, guiding actions at the state level, the activities of agencies, our funding and the like. And also it's in the fine print there, and we do have the slide deck to look at later. You'll notice there that it says that their plan is descriptive, not prescriptive. And that's something that's also true of the plan the Commonwealth is developing. We're looking at it as something that informs our decision-making, that we want to be consulting when we make decisions about infrastructure and land use, but it is not something that is a mandate or a regulatory plan, anything of that nature. And the Connecticut language makes that clear in their case as well. Next slide, please. These are 2 examples. The Connecticut plan, much as we intend ours, you can search for a particular address, learn something about the place. On the left-hand side, there is a place in Windsor, Connecticut. It's in the Connecticut version. It's in a suburban growth zone, in a sort of suburban downtown. It's a redevelopment opportunity, and I wanted to bring that up because if that were something that a grant program manager, say the state's Housing Works program or the Mass Works program, were to receive an application for that location for funding, that's the kind of place where the plan would indicate that this might be a good place to make that sort of investment. On the right-hand side, you see a location in Thompson in the quiet corner of Connecticut. This one more characterized by farmlands and priority habitat. And the idea would be if a manager of a housing or infrastructure program received an application for this sort of place, they would say, well, that doesn't rate very well. This is not a priority. Whereas if we received a grant application for one of my agency's Energy and Environmental Affairs conservation programs, we would say, yes, this looks like a good place for, say, a local acquisitions for natural diversity proposal. So that's one idea of how we would do this. Next slide, please. Ultimately, what we're talking about here, the deliverables, is a strategy and a map. And we're very much utilizing GIS, utilizing data, the technology that we have and the information we've been gathering for decades now as a means of making those decisions. So information on natural resources, information on infrastructure like water and sewer and energy and transportation, helping us to sort of prioritize good locations for housing, good locations for various types of economic development, and where are the places that are most appropriate for conservation by virtue of their natural resources, habitat, water resources, things of that nature. And we are using GIS to help us do that. So we're both planning to help use the GIS and data to help us make choices about where are the important places for various priorities. And we'll again use GIS and a data tool to articulate that plan, that strategy back to regional planning agencies, cities and towns, and the like. Next slide, please. I wanted to just give you a sense, this is an abbreviated version of this slideshow, by the way, of the format here. So first of all, I've been asked a number of times, is senior leadership, is the governor, lieutenant governor, are the cabinet secretaries aware of this? Yes, very much so. We've briefed them, they're involved. And we, on a day-to-day basis, there's a project management team responsible that I lead, but the project management team meets with a steering committee comprised of officials from half a dozen or so state agencies, the ones you'd expect, MassDOT, the Economic Development, Housing, Energy and Environmental Affairs, and so on, that are helping to guide this effort. We've organized ourselves to plan and prioritize for future land use into 4 topical work groups that you see in the orange boxes there in the middle. And I would mention briefly that the Old Colony Planning Council is represented, I believe, on both the economic development, might get that wrong, economic development and housing.
That is correct. That's right.
Yeah, great. We really wanted to be sure that we were working with those who understood the regions well. So we have staff from many of the regions, I think pretty much all the regional planning agencies involved in helping us work on this process, because we thought that was really important. We also have a technical work group. Given our prior use of GIS, use of data, use of technology, that group is pretty central to this. They are working with the other topical work groups to help us come to that prioritization. And of course, we have a consulting team led by the Eastern Research Group. And in addition to the topical groups, we are, of course, considering all sorts of factors that relate to prioritization. So public health, the climate change and decarbonization, transportation, I mentioned that already, but a whole bunch of different considerations you see represented on the right-hand side there are, we have folks working on the various teams that bring those interests to the conversation. And stakeholder engagement is important to us now. We're trying to be sure we do enough, even though this is a state-focused plan, do enough outreach to municipal officials, to regional planning agencies and others to ground the plan in the realities of how land use planning works at the local and regional levels, and the sort of political and practical considerations that would come from the municipal level. Next slide, please. One of the things that we also did is to ask ourselves, well, who are we designing this for? Who are the users of this particular integrated land use strategy? We want to be sure that we've captured all of those. And how would they use, or would we like them to use, the integrated land use strategy? So to pick an obvious example for this presentation, second from the bottom there, regional planners, whether it's a regional planning agency, MPO, a transit authority, or a utility like the MWRA, we would want them to know what the state's priorities are, what it thinks is the appropriate locations for certain types of growth, and to take that into account in their own planning. And the goal, of course, being we're trying to align planning at the state level with work of others. Even though, and I'll say this again, this is not a mandate. There's not a requirement for consistency here. It's just a way of the state, hopefully, helping you understand what our priorities are and helping us all to avoid conflict. We're trying to be clear about what the Commonwealth is trying to do and where we're trying to do it. And again, this is slides are with you for more on those use cases. Next slide, please. So expected outcomes. I think of this as how will we know we succeeded? And the primary thing I think is that if agency leaders across state government, policymakers, program managers are routinely, it becomes a matter of course to look at the integrated land use strategy, consult it when making a decision that would affect infrastructure, that would affect the policy and programmatic choices. And the idea is that over time, that if that's a factor in how we make decisions on grants related to land use or infrastructure investments the Commonwealth makes, or subsidies for, say, housing projects, that it will over time lead to more and more consistency with our intended future land use. And then another desired outcome is that stakeholders, then that carries a lot of weight there. So many different kinds of stakeholders. Think town administrators, members of planning boards, solar developers, housing developers. By virtue of our putting out our integrated land use strategy or our plan through a tool, it's easy to understand, easy to access, and a clear understanding of the objectives the Commonwealth is trying to meet are articulated through the plan. And the basic idea is that over time, all sorts of things, plans, projects, regulations, investments become ever more consistent with the intended outcomes. Next slide, please. As to the engagement strategy, top left-hand side there, first and foremost, we are working daily with state agencies to engage, agree, work toward priorities, understand each other's missions. You can see sort of the alphabet soup there in the second bullet on the top left. All of those agencies and more engaged in this. We are also on the bottom left working to engage stakeholders and obtain perspective, outreach, grounding. And those some of those would be, say, the Mass Municipal Association, to whom we, of course, talked about this. There would be organizations like the Massachusetts Land Trust Coalition. We've briefed on this, and so on. So we are engaging sort of maybe interest group by interest group, those who would have a particular importance to future land use, so that they know what we're up to, understand what we're up to, and much like the council tonight, can at least get the basics now and provide more detail later. As to regional and municipal government, we have the Commonwealth has contracted with the 13 regional planning agencies for involvement here. We know that the council and its counterparts across the state know their communities, work with the municipalities, can help us to communicate with the communities within each region. And so we have hired, contracted to do outreach related to the integrated land use strategy, including what the bullets at the bottom there. Tonight is what we call a Milos 101 or introduction. We're just really trying to introduce this to you, let you know what we're up to, so that when we come back for a more detailed, what we're calling open house, we want to provide you at a second stage, work with Mary and the staff to organize a session where we talk to you about what data did we use, how did we organize it, how do we weight or prioritize it, so that you understand what we're doing and can provide feedback or input on the data and the prioritization. And we intend a third touch toward the end of the process where we would present a draft outcome of the integrated land use strategy, again, for the communities of the Old Colony region to understand what we're up to and provide perspective on whether you think we got the prioritization right, or if they're, and just generally to understand again what we are intending and provide information. Next slide, please. And that takes me to the end of my admittedly quick abbreviated version of this, but we really just wanted, as I say, to introduce this. I should say one more thing, which is time frame. We are looking for this work to be done sometime in the fall time frame. It's aggressive, but we are making lots of good progress now and appreciate the contributions of staff from Old Colony and others to the work. And with that, I appreciate again your time, and I to the extent you can afford it, I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you very much, Assistant Secretary. I was going to say that I have a ton of questions, but I think some of them are more appropriate for the next open house. My question is, how quickly do we think we're going to have that open house?
Well, that's something I do want to talk to Mary and the staff about. My initial thinking had been May, but I understand I've received feedback already that that's town meeting season, and maybe that's not the best timing. So perhaps June might be better, but subject to conversation, we were thinking sometime in the May-June window.
And Becky, one of the things that's happening is that the Assistant Secretary comes before MARPA once a month and talks with all of us at the same time. And so a lot of the bantering. What I also want to add in that will piggyback tremendously with this is the fact that we're using our TARPA money, Kurt, to do a regional policy plan. And so the work that's going to happen under the MILAS, along with the work that is happening under the regional policy plan, really the timing could not be better. It's data as well as the planning, but also the open houses and the discussion, not just only at an Old Colony Planning Council 15-minute spot, but really to have some deeper, meaningful conversations, focus groups and things like that. So this is really just beginning. Part of this has been my fault. It's been a little bit chaotic on the inside here. But I think the fact that the Assistant Secretary coming today, providing this, my thought is that if there is interest, we could even in between do a webinar of a longer roundtable discussion with council members and others. So it's not just 15 minutes, but it's much longer in between that and the open houses. So that's in my mind frame for how this will be rolled out in the region.
I'd be happy to do that. I appreciate you getting me onto the agenda tonight, but a more robust engagement would be welcome.
I think that would be helpful. I know that I'm very interested in how these pieces fit together. I mean, we've tackled some of this through like the economic dashboard that Don Sullivan and his team had been working on, and some other work that we've done regionally. So it would be nice to put it together. I also am curious as to how this ultimately integrates with other public-facing tools, like what used to be Oliver, I think is now Mass Mapper, and other ways to look at different properties. With that said, is there anybody who has sort of a high-level question that they want to ask the Assistant Secretary tonight before we move on to more detailed conversations later?
Jason DeRoche.
Jason.
Jason's a staff member.
Hello. So
Hello.
The reason why I'm here. So I'm also a member of the housing work group for MILAS. And Kurt, my question is, I know that there's going to be a survey going out as part of this process, and just wanted to get a sense on when that will be going out to municipalities, just so that we can make sure that we're not duplicating efforts or sending out surveys around the same time.
Yeah, for everyone else's benefit, one of the ways we were looking to engage with municipalities and sort of understand your perspective on certain things was a survey. We've been working to put that out. Jason, we had originally been thinking that it would be a start of the engagement and outreach. We're more thinking now better done after we articulate we provide to the communities, to the regional planning agencies, some of the outcome so that feedback can be provided on draft product, use of information, data, and the like. So the answer is yes, we intend to survey, but we're going to postpone that a couple of months, maybe until after we see you folks in, say, the May, June timeframe, to gather information on what we provide you in that meeting.
Thank you.
So before everybody goes, because we're going to take a little screenshot of everybody looking at your camera, because we're going to use it for our newsletter to promote this and promote, we're going to have a page on our website. So Megan's going to take the picture, but you got to smile and don't be drinking your coffee. There we go.
Picture's on.
Count us down, Megan. Oh, I'll count us down. Oh, you're muted. 1, 2. Oh. Yeah, you're muted.
We have production in process.
Mhm.
We will stand by for just a few seconds so we get something that we can
I think we're good.
promote this idea.
I think we're good, right, Megan? Yes, perfect. Thank you. And again, thank you for your patience for doing that, because it is part of getting word out into our communities about all the work we're doing. So Kurt, just a couple takeaways from tonight. Thank you for adjusting your schedule. Number one, as you can see, we have great, robust attendance from our council members across our region. We'll look to schedule a webinar. And then obviously we know that the next task is going to be the open houses, and we'll be working with all of our council members for that. Many of them, I didn't give their titles. Many of them are select board members or planning board directors or community planning. So these are pretty amazing staff, council members who can really get us right and moving quickly. So.
Great. Well, I will just say again, thank you. Appreciate their time this evening and look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Thank you very much.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Well, now that we've had that sort of broad perspective, we're going to get back to our nitty gritty and have Brenda. But first, are we going to? Do you want me to introduce first the?
Yes, please.
We had our audit finance committee meeting last night. Christine Joy is the chair. She is not able to be with us tonight, so I'm going to briefly summarize the meeting. We had agreed to create a reserve account for payout of unused sick time and vacation time when we have staff members who leave the organization for retirement. So the finance committee voted favorably to create a reserve account so that we're not caught off guard when that time comes. Secondly, we need to renew our CD with Northeastern Savings Bank and create a CD for that reserve account. And the finance committee voted favorably to go with Northeastern Savings Bank, which has our CD now, because they had a good rate at 3.75% for 9 months. I did abstain from that vote because my husband works for a bank. Then Brenda will also provide her financials in a second, but the finance committee voted favorably to accepting her financial report. So I'm going to let Brenda give her one-page financial report, and then we'll come back and see if the council is comfortable with all of what the Finance Audit Committee approved last night and willing to endorse those votes as a council. So Brenda, do you want to take over with here you go.
Yes. Okay, so finances at a glance, let's look at our fiscal reserves at the end of February. Our monthly payroll is running approximately $175,000 a month. Our monthly indirect accounts payables are running approximately $63,381 a month for a total of $236,381. Our cash available in our bank accounts. And if you look at the graphic, numbers 1 to 7 show the details of the bank accounts and what all the balances are. And those balances total up to $1,760,877. That's all within the red bracket. In the yellow bracket are the funds that are reserved that would have to be deleted out of that total number. And those would be funds that are reserved for to be used only for specific grants, or because they've been paid in advance, or for the volunteer transportation donation funds, which sits in its own reserved account. Okay, the total accounts receivable at the end of February was $442,222. ROM specific details, ROM bank account balance was $120,211. Rockland Trust Building Phone Loan monthly principal balance after the February payment is $261,158. The monthly rental revenue for ROM is $5,850, which is OCPC's rent to ROM for the building. The OPEB account balance at the end of February was $1,569,519. Cash position information, just in a nutshell, at the end of February, our budgeted financial position shows position is as follows. I'm sorry. The ideal expenditures in month 8 of the fiscal year would be 66.72%. Our February budget report shows expenditures at 61.89%, which shows a 4.83% surplus, which is equal to $400,764 in income over expenses. And that is the end of our financial report. Does anyone have any questions at all?
Jean Marie, it is Northeastern Savings. It was a typo, not Northeastern, Northeast, just.
And I was reading because my loan is with Northeastern Savings, and I should be able to pronounce that properly.
Just for the scribber's error, that it is Northeastern Savings. Thank you.
Okay, so we have 3 items on the finance. We have the creation of a reserve account for payout of unused sick time and vacation time. We have renewing the CD with Northeastern Savings Bank at 3.7, Northeastern Savings Bank at 3.75% for 9 months. And we have approving the financial report for the month. I would entertain a motion to approve the Financial Audit Committee report, including all 3 of those items, unless someone has a question that they need to break out one of the items.
I move to accept the Audit Finance Committee report and the 3 action items.
Second.
Thank you, Derek. And who's the second? Is that Jean Marie?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, roll call, Mary?
Abington,
Accept.
Avon,
Accept.
Brockton,
Accept.
Duxbury,
Accept.
East Bridgewater,
Accept.
Easton,
Accept.
Hanson,
Accept.
Kingston. And no Val's on. Val, okay, she did give her thumbs up. Pembroke,
Accept.
and no Laura Lynn had to leave from Plymouth. And that is it.
Okay, thank you. And with that, we will move on to our preliminary fiscal 2027 budget, which is just coming up around the corner. So Brenda, again, is going to go through our 2027 budget plan.
And just before Brenda goes into this, again, we do this in over several months. We provide this draft. We went through it with the Finance Committee and with you again. We will have a much finer tune in April, and by May we will be ready for an action to be taken on this. So, Brenda.
Okay. First of all, for those of you who were at the finance meeting, these for FY26 and FY27, the numbers have been edited slightly. I needed to do some corrections. So we have columns that show the FY25 final expenses, and the middle column is our current FY26 projected budget expenses. And we are in month 8, so we're not there yet, so this is still projected. And FY27 projected budget expenses is the third column. And you'll see that going across, the numbers don't fluctuate hugely. They stay pretty close. Um, the payroll increases slightly because of merit increases and longevity payouts and those sorts of things, but they seem pretty close. And I went in and did a deep dive on the payroll numbers for FY26 just today, and that number showing for the salaries in FY26 is pretty close to
Just
where
to,
we are going to be.
but Brenda, the Personnel Committee has not met yet, so these are just put in as a placeholder for right now. So when the Personnel Committee meets, those numbers will be refined.
Right,
Okay.
we
On the
haven't
personnel-
set salaries yet, right?
Correct.
No, I understand. I understand.
I'm just saying that for the
I'm
board
just saying this is
members,
just, okay, this is just the projected numbers, that's all. These numbers change all the time. And that's about it unless anyone has any questions about any particular items.
And this is not requiring a vote. This is just more for your information. And it is, what we'll do is we'll get this corrected version out to the council members if you want to take a look closer at the preliminary budget.
Also, if anyone wants to take a deeper dive, we do go into more detail in the Finance Audit Committee meetings. We just don't have as much time on the council meetings because we also want to make sure that everyone knows what the staff is up to and what the council is up to so that you can bring it back to your towns. But that gives you an overview of the budget. If there aren't any questions, which I don't see any hands up, unless I'm missing something. Thank you, Brenda, for introducing us to the new budget. And now we can let Mary and our staff take over with some staff reports to let us know what we're doing that is helping our communities.
I will be relatively quick on my end because we have some great staff members to talk about their what they do. But I do want to be able to highlight the legislative breakfast that was recently held and give particular kudos to Yolanda Spinola and to Derek Staffier, along with Becky Coletta. Rhonda Nyman was not able to make it, but she was very instrumental in formulating. We had a very, very, very successful legislative breakfast, and it is all recorded and the documents are there. So thank you to those council members, as well as to the staff to help pull that together. And then there's just some other items where, as you saw in an email, we've hired John Fay, who is formerly with the city of Brockton. He is working primarily on the PRISM fund that we have, but also working on Tech Hub. This is not a replacement for the economic development person. We are actually still receiving resumes, and we're going to begin interviews for the economic development position. We are doing some great things in terms of efficiencies of how we are doing our timesheets. Right now, staff fills out timesheets. It goes through their managers. It comes to me. So we're all going to be doing this. It's called Click Time, and it's going to be online. So we're really excited about that. And then, there's things like the Mass DOT grant awards for the volunteer transportation and alternative transportation program. The food hub is going. All of this is in the staff report. I ask every time we meet, please give a chance to take a look at that staff report. Thank you very much, Megan. Staff do take their time. It's not the same cut and paste. They do update, and there's a lot of things that I'm going to give this to the assistant secretary to show him what we're doing. But putting this aside, we have two presentations, and the first one we're going to do is first bring up Andrew Vidal. So Andrew, I know you have a slide deck. So Andrew, I'm going to have you take it away. You're not muted, are you, Andrew?
Thank you, Mary.
There you go. Perfect.
Okay. I'll just wait till you get to the top of the... Perfect. Okay. Well, hello, I'm Andrew Vidal. I'm the GIS manager here. I've been working here for 15, almost 16 years now, 11 of which I've been the GIS manager. Often when people ask me what I do for work, I say I make maps, but that's only part of it. GIS is a lot more than just making maps. It's the computerized system for collecting and managing information that has a spatial or a location component to it, and analyzing that information so that we can see patterns and relationships emerge. Yeah, here at OCPC, we see all parts of the GIS data lifecycle: creation, maintenance, visualization, like maps, and analysis. So every department here uses spatial data to some degree. Next slide. Our transportation department collects pavement data, analyzes crash clusters, and uses maps and corridor study reports, among many other many other things. Next. Our comprehensive planners are using zoning, land use, housing, environmental data. Next. And our economic planners are using land use and business data. And with our new PRISM project, there's been quite a bit of need for them as well. So those are just a few examples of how we're using GIS here at OCPC. More recently, there's been increased emphasis on public-facing data, because none of this work that we do does any good if we hide our light under a bushel. So our visual GIS projects, these have great utility for the public. We've developed this here, which is a community data portal with demographic, transportation, housing, and economic indicators for all of our communities. It's fully interactive. You can select a town and see any of these statistics at the regional level or at a specific town level. We've also more recently developed a transportation performance measures dashboard, which I believe is scheduled to go live very soon. So among these achievements, we've also recently developed a census geodatabase where we've incorporated a lot of the more recent 2024 American Community Survey data, which was just released about 2 months ago. And we've also developed a new map layout, and we're making an effort to make a consistent visual theme across all OCPC products. So where's the GIS department going from here? Well, top priorities are extending GIS access to more of the staff. So GIS tools have become easier than ever to use, to become familiar with. And dashboards and maps can be developed using the ArcGIS suite of software. Most staff members can do these with minimal skills, and we're encouraging more of that, and we're trying to share data so that this can happen. One of the goals is more visualizations, dashboards, and interactives, all to help engage the public in the process and to engage stakeholders and to provide data to make our case. And also, we're going to develop new data sets, upgrade older ones. Currently, we have plans to flesh out sidewalk data, which right now it exists, but it's not in the most up to date or most rich format that it could be. I've also been creating a region-wide parking database, and finally, there's a constant effort to identify gaps in the system that we want to improve. I'm currently developing a GIS data catalog, which would be a complete inventory of all of our data to ensure data consistency and update frequency, to improve sharing with the staff and our partner organizations, and establish data governance rules. So in a short form, that is what the GIS department is all about here at OCPC. If anyone has any questions.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
So if someone is working on a planning project and they're trying to navigate all of the GIS information that's available, and they need a few minutes of someone's time to walk them through, are you the person they should get in touch with?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so for all the planners and planning board members and select board members on this call, keep that in mind.
They do. The one other thing I want to be able to add, and I think David Klein is still on, what Andrew was able to produce these large maps for the state, and it is like the talk of the town when it gets produced. And I just want to, well, it's not necessarily all that integrated in terms of the specifics of data, but it's an avenue and something that is really helpful to the different agencies. So just again, all the departments within the organization is touched by this, and our community is just the same. And again, it really is important in the work that Andrew has done. He really is a one-person manager. He is under the transportation department, but to the point is that he is integrated everywhere, and really has enhanced the work that OCPC has been doing. So thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And who do we have next, Mary? We have one more.
So next is not really to have him speak. It's actually to talk about so this is going to be the last meeting that Don Sullivan is going to be attending. And I've asked Megan, so he's like, okay, what's going to happen today? This was the talk about um, the meeting. I think it's really important to talk about well, he has 42 years of community, well, not communities, but service to the various communities. And he's only worked for OCPC for a short period of time. His impact has been immense. I cannot underscore enough. Don and I have known each other for many years. I knew him many years, just from different walks of life. And then prior to me coming to OCPC, what was it? What was it, Don?
About 40.
About 40 of those 42 years. It's true.
Yeah.
But when he reached out about the time to say, hey, is there a position or is there something might be open? We sat and I could see the value, and it was, how do we make this work? And can you give me a little bit of time and let me think this through? It was worth every single second of time to contemplating, because it's amazing about the amount of funds that he brought to the region. I think he's had conversations with just about everybody, and this great photo of you council members being in pictures with Don, whether it's at the Metro South Chamber event or whether it's at one of our summits, and or whether it's just in the office. So he has brought fun to this organization. He's brought resources. He's brought experience. Like the years of this does get to be when you're a certain age, and I know I'm only a couple months younger than he is, but the amount of service and the amount of experience that he has, and we all do look and listen to what Don has to say. So he's retiring officially, and he's going to be taking some well-deserved time off. He is going to be coming back to work for us about 10 hours a week. He's been helpful. He's been really helpful at the tail end of COVID. He's helped us navigate through the executive orders that have really made the federal funds a little bit tight. He is the guru of economic development administration throughout the Commonwealth. Megan, thank you. So so this is under his SERPID work. He worked on the Somerset Brayton Point power plant, the Plymouth Pilgrim Power Station, in terms of taking a large acre site and do an assessment. He found the funds, and working with Lee Hartman. We have some data that goes along with this in terms of how much money. It's taken him a couple days to pull that together, but I'm making him do it because the impact of his work throughout the Commonwealth has been amazing. And I just wanted to have him come before all of you, just not only for me to express, there we go, the 42 million in EDA funding, 39 million in matching funds. It's just totaling over 82 million. It's speechless. Like these numbers this is not to be disrespectful to anything that's happened in the past, but since he's been on board, he's elevated OCPC to a level, both internally and externally. And the appreciation coming from my mouth isn't sufficient enough to just say, thank you, Don, for your years of service. And I know we will continue to be friends as we go along the way. And I offer just the members of the council, if anybody would like to say anything. Oh, and don't forget to come to the retirement party next week.
Thank you, Mary.
Well, I know that, OCPC always had a robust, strong transportation group, and we were developing a planning group. I think Don was a sea change in terms of us being able to focus on economic development in the region as well. And I really appreciate your work, Don. I look forward to celebrating next week, because I think that'll be fun, because you always make things fun. And I really appreciate everything you've brought to OCPC.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. It's just been part of an aggressive attitude about trying to make a difference. So, I wish I could have done more at OCPC in a limited time, but
Well, you'll still be helping us, right?
yeah, we'll get there. We were still several more millions we got to get in, so
We'll work on that.
All right, well, enjoy your time in the meantime, but then come back and help us get over the finish line on some of this.
Will do.
Anybody
Thank-
else out there want to say something before we get to the close of our meeting?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Peter Spagone, delegate from East Bridgewater.
ahead.
I met Don. Actually, the picture I have up is great because I met Don the same way with a cocktail, and it was a very good cocktail, not only for myself but for the town of East Bridgewater for sure. The things that he was able to do for us in Route 18 project, I talk about it quite often, not only to Mary but to other other councilmen and delegates and whatnot. Don came in and gave us a plan. He followed it through to the T without any hesitation, and because of that, I believe this is probably definitely one of few, if only one federal grant that the town of East Bridgewater has ever acquired, and because of him, the funding that we brought in, the $3 million from the feds is going to make this a great project and something I think that not only East Bridgewater but the surrounding towns are going to benefit. So, Don, I just want to say thank you. I'm going to make every attempt to come down and have one more cocktail with you in the next few days. But again, thank you, buddy, and I appreciate everything you've done.
No, thank you. The leadership in East Bridgewater has been tremendous. So I couldn't do it without you folks, supporting me in OCPC, what we do. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Peter.
Don, do you think this is like your funeral or something?
No, I'll be around 10 hours a week. Don't not going
It is. There's a little bit of why we are going through sometimes elevating our employees in the work project is because of someone like a delegate or alternate in this case was Alicia Siciliano, who said, Mary, can we get more information about what you guys are doing? And that piece really made us really trying to think about what we present, not talking at you, but the work that Andrew did is still doing. He's not leaving. He's not working 10 hours a week. But it's really important work, and integrating all that we're doing is so important. And I know Don would spend a lot of time back there with Andrew and figuring some things out for his economic development packages he'd put together. Never says, hey, it's not my job. I mean, Andrew didn't, or Dawn didn't do it. And I think that's the piece, that synergy that's within this organization. I see Matt is on, there we go, Matt Dyer, sorry, I'm looking, and other staff, right? It is the synergy that's here. Doesn't always work every single day, but we start each day new and we keep going at it, and we're a team here. And well, we have folks that have been here for a number of years, including Charlie, celebrating 30 years. And I put something out in an email last week about that. We have so much to celebrate, and it is actually quite the honor to be at the helm of this organization and to be working with not only the staff but also the council members. So thank you to Andrew for your presentation and your skills, but also to Dawn. It will be till we see you again, which I'll see you tomorrow. But to the council members, please, if you do have a chance to swing by, Don's email remained the same, and he will be around. So thank you.
Well, and in the chat, there is a little link to RSVP to next week, or to leave a little note for Don if you can't make it. So check out the chat right now. And Don, did you want to say anything to the council before we move on?
No, just happy to work for OCPC, and appreciate all the council's work and participation and support for what we do. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm glad that Mary mentioned, because the other thing that we announced this month in our newsletter was the 30th year of Charlie Kilmer working for OCPC, and all of the work that he is doing in transportation over that time. There's no one who knows our region's roads better than Charlie. I really don't believe there's anyone out there who does. And so I just want to make sure that we do acknowledge that effort and that work over such a long period of time. And but he's not retiring, so we don't do a party for that yet. And hopefully, I figure he's got 10 years, right? 40 is a good number, maybe, Charlie?
10 at the most, maybe
This,
less.
this is being recorded.
Okay, so on that note, I do not have any other business that's been brought to my attention. If anybody wants to raise their hand quickly, they can. Otherwise, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make
Motion.
that motion.
Thank you,
Second,
Steve. Thank you, Derek. All right, guys, have a good night. I'll
Yep.
see some of you next week.
Tuesday.
Bye now.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody. Thank
Good night.
you.
Bye-bye.